Every family tells itself a story. For most, it's a story of progress, of each generation building on the last. But for the Harris family, the story was a loop, a curse. For over a century, their story was one of poverty, not the kind you see in dramatic headlines, but the quiet, grinding kind. The kind that seeps into your bones and becomes a part of your identity. From the sharecropper fields of post-Reconstruction Georgia to the factory floors of industrial Detroit, each generation of the Harris family worked harder than the last. They saved what little they could. They prayed. They followed the rules. And every time, the floor fell out from under them. A lost job, a sudden illness, a market crash. Whatever they managed to build, no matter how small, was swept away. They woke up to find their savings weren't enough. Their hard work hadn't bought them security, and their children were starting from the same place they did. 0. Failure wasn't a possibility. Failure was their inheritance. The real question wasn't whether they would struggle. It was why their struggle never ended. The illusion of the American dream is the most dangerous financial trap of all. We look at the stories of success, the slogans of pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and we assume the path is the same for everyone. But the path is not the same. It is a rigged game, and the rules are hidden in plain sight. That's why this story is so infuriating and so important. Every family stuck in a cycle of poverty leaves behind a trail of clues, of systemic barriers and hidden traps that keep them there. And if you pay close attention, you'll see that the ones who break free aren't the ones who simply worked harder. They were the ones who stopped playing the game and started learning the rules. Our story pivots to Marcus Harris, born in the late 1980s. He was the latest chapter in the family's long book of struggles. He saw his grandfather lose his pension when the auto plant closed. He saw his father, a skilled mechanic, work 2 jobs his entire life, only to have his savings wiped out by his wife's medical bills after a car accident. Marcus did everything he was told to do. He got good grades, took on student loans to go to a state college, and landed a respectable job in corporate logistics. He was making more money than his father ever had, and yet he was drowning. His student loan payments were a mortgage, his rent ate a third of his income. A single car repair could obliterate his savings. He was running faster and faster on the same hamster wheel. He was living the echo of his family's curse. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. He got a call from his younger sister. Her daughter, his niece, had a rare dental condition that required expensive surgery. That night, something in him snapped. It wasn't despair, it was fury. This wasn't bad luck. It wasn't a personal failing. It was a system designed to keep people like him, people who worked and saved and followed the rules, perpetually one emergency away from ruin. He realized his family hadn't been cursed by fate. They had been trapped by design. Marcus's journey began not in a library, but in the break room of his soulless corporate job. He started listening, really listening. He noticed that the senior executives, the ones who drove luxury cars and took European vacations, talked differently about money. They didn't talk about their 401ks or their savings accounts. They talked about entities, depreciation, and leverage. It was a foreign language. His obsession led him down a rabbit hole of online forums, financial podcasts, and books that weren't on the bestseller lists. He spent his nights devouring obscure tax codes and legal structures. He was looking for the machine behind the curtain, and then he found it. The secret wasn't some magic bullet or an illegal scheme. It was a principle so simple and so profound it felt like a punch to the gut. The wealthy don't work for money. They build systems that own assets, and those assets work for them. The key that unlocked it all for him was the concept of the self-directed IRA, combined with real estate. For generations, his family saw a house as a place to live, a liability with a 30-year mortgage. The wealthy saw a house as an asset, a cash-flowing machine that someone else pays for. Here was the system's secret, laid bare. You could use your retirement account, the money you were told to lock away in stocks and bonds until you were 65, to buy tangible assets like real estate. You could take out a loan to buy a rental property inside your IRA, have the tenants rent, pay off the mortgage, cover expenses, and build equity. All of it would grow tax-deferred or tax-free. The government had created these rules, these massive loopholes, but they were almost exclusively used by people who already had wealth and sophisticated advisors. It was a private, parallel financial system for the rich, hidden by complexity and jargon. For the Harris family, debt had always been a chain. For the wealthy, it was a tool. They called it leverage. You use the bank's money to buy an asset that someone else, the tenant, pays for. The government then rewards you for this by giving you tax deductions on the interest and an even bigger gift: depreciation. You could legally tell the IRS your property was losing value on paper, even as it was appreciating in the real world, and use that paper loss to shelter your other income from taxes. It was a government-sponsored wealth generator, and 99% of the population didn't even know it existed. Knowing the secret was one thing. Acting on it was another. Marcus had no generational wealth to draw from. This is where the story turns. It required sacrifice. Marcus sold his decent car and bought a 15-year-old beater. He moved out of his apartment and into his parents' basement. A move that felt like a monumental failure. He took on a weekend job delivering pizzas. Every dollar he saved, every ounce of humiliation he swallowed, was fuel. He saved up an additional $10,000 in one brutal year. He converted his old 401k into a self-directed IRA. With his total of around $30,000, he found a small, run-down duplex in a working-class neighborhood, 2 hours away. It was the kind of property no one wanted. The numbers were terrifying. The down payment, through his IRA, would take every penny. The mortgage would be high. One bad tenant, one broken furnace, and he would be wiped out. His father told him he was crazy. "You have a good job, a steady paycheck. Don't throw it away on some scheme. We're not those people, son." That was the curse speaking. The ingrained belief that wealth building was for other people. Marcus closed on the property. The first 6 months were hell. He spent every weekend driving 2 hours to fix leaky faucets, patch drywall, and paint walls himself. One of the units sat vacant for 2 months, and he had to cover the full mortgage by delivering more pizzas. Barely sleeping, he was closer to bankruptcy than he had ever been. He was terrified. He was alone. But then, he found a tenant for the second unit, and for the first time, a corner was turned. The total rent from both units covered the mortgage, the taxes, the insurance, and even left a few $100s of positive cash flow every month. That money stayed inside his IRA, growing tax-free. The system was working. The resolution didn't happen overnight. It was a slow, deliberate climb. Marcus used that first property's equity and cash flow to do it again 2 years later. And then again. He formed an LLC to protect his growing assets. He learned about cost segregation studies to accelerate depreciation and slash his tax bill from his day job to almost zero. He was no longer just trading his time for money. He was the owner of a system. Fast forward 7 years. Marcus now owns a portfolio of 12 rental units. He still lives modestly, but the fear is gone. He was able to write a check for his niece's surgery without blinking. He helped his parents pay off their house. Last year, he set up trust funds for his sister's kids, ensuring their education would be paid for, breaking the cycle of student loan debt before it could even begin. The Harris family story is no longer a loop, it's a ladder. The curse wasn't broken by a lottery win or a stock market gamble. It was broken by one person who refused to accept the story he was told. I got hungry, he got educated, and he used the system's own rules against it. The wealth isn't extravagant, but it's real. It's stability. It's ownership. It's the freedom to weather a storm without losing everything. Their family history proves a brutal lesson. The financial system you're told to trust, work hard, save in a bank, invest in a 401k, is designed to create workers, not owners. It's a path to subsistence, not wealth. True financial freedom is found in the rules they don't teach you in school. But here's the part. Loyal viewers will understand. You think the system wants you to learn this? You think they'd ever teach you how to stop being their customer? If you're the Marcus of your family, the first one trying to break the cycle, drop a brick in the comments. What's the one rule about money you wish someone taught you sooner?